About a month ago, Toronto City Councillor Joe Cressy published a piece in Toronto Life about his own experiences dealing with depression and anxiety. The headline read, "For years, I ignored my panic attacks and convinced myself I was fine. It took a 2 a.m. trip to the ER to realize I wasn't." The piece goes on to be a very honest description of what Cressy went through. Joe Cressy is joining us in studio this morning. Great to have you here.
Thanks, Emery.
I guess the first question is why? Why did you decide to write a piece in Toronto Life, in the city where you are a city councillor?
Well, you know, about 4 years ago, I had just been elected to City Council in Toronto, and on the surface, I was doing great. You know, I was happy, I was doing a job I cared about, but underneath, I was a mess. I was unmotivated in the mornings, you know, you wake up and you're tired before you get out of bed. I started developing panic attacks, and I didn't know what they were. And so I eventually realized I had a mental, not a physical illness, and sharing my story, you know, honestly, was part of my own healing. But in doing so, I realized it's part of this broader call to action to break the stigma and talk like we're doing today.
And stigma around men in particular is one of the focuses of the In Their Own Words special that airs tonight. And you said that really resonated with you. And I think for men, this idea of, if I'm going to admit I have a problem, I can't also be successful.
You know, and when I published this piece, I was surprised at the level of response. I thought, it's 2019, mental health, here we talk about it on national news on a daily basis. But when I've seen the response, I think part of it has to do with the fact that men don't talk about their own vulnerabilities, that the sense that somehow that weakness, that it's perceived as a weakness when it's not. That to be in touch with your vulnerabilities, to recognize them, to get help for them, that helps you be a better person. It helps you be a better leader. It also helps you be healthier. And that's so important for everybody, but men in particular.
How has it been important for you?
Well, I think, listen, I'm a city councillor here, and by virtue of my own exploration of mental illness and understanding, I think it's made me more aware of other people's struggles. When I'm representing 100,000 constituents in Toronto, being able to understand their struggles, their depression, their anxieties, their angst, I think makes me better in tune with who they are and also leads to better decision-making and policies.
If there is anybody out there, another man in particular who is thinking, I am struggling, I know I need to get help, I'm afraid to ask, what has your experience been with reaching out and talking about it? Well,
you know, 2 years ago, I was in the emergency room thinking I was having a heart attack. It turned out to be a panic attack. And in retrospect, the best thing in the world I did was I ended up seeing a psychiatrist and getting the help I needed to deal with my anxiety disorder and to overcome depression. And so to everybody out there, but to men in particular, treatment works. And mental health, it's just like a physical illness. Sometimes we just need a little care, and sometimes that'll make all the difference.
One of the fears is that people will be ostracized. They'll be cut out from their circle of friends, cut out from the pack for speaking out. Have you found that to be true for you?
You know, I think we've come so far. I mean, we're in the era now where superstars like DeMar DeRozan and Clara Hughes speak publicly. But, you know, at the end of the day, 1 in 2 Canadians, by the time they turn 40, will have or have had a mental illness. All of us have a mental illness. And so if you break your ankle and you're hobbling down the hallways on crutches, people will support you. And if you are struggling with depression, if we start talking about it, people will support you. It's normal. We all go through it.
Such an important message, especially today, but every day as we go on with our daily lives. Thanks for coming in, Joe.
Thanks, Emery.